All right, and we're live here with SampleServe Masterclass Wednesdays. Thank you for joining us. I'm Joshua Paul with SampleServe, and with us I have Russell Schindler, founder and CEO of SampleServe. Say hi, Russell.
Hey, how's it going?
We're going to get straight to it today. We like to go on tips and tricks, talk about the industry, talk about our app. We like to bring on some industry experts as well. Last week we had David Weber with Antia Group. That was a very helpful and informative video. Make sure you go back on our website and find that on there, and you can find it on YouTube and LinkedIn as well. And if you have any questions during this, just enter it in the chat, and we'll get to it during the show. Also, share this if you think this will be helpful to anybody you know as well.
Yeah.
So today we're talking about wastewater sampling and high frequency sampling. This can be, at wastewater plants. It can be at anything that has high frequency sampling throughout the day. If you sample multiple times throughout the day, SampleServe has an innovative new product that allows people to schedule high frequency volume sampling and efficient communication, and allows digital data collection for all that.
Yeah, it's not just for high frequency sampling, but any kind of data, you got to measure pH multiple times a day, however you want to do that. Maybe you got to do it every shift or every hour, who knows. That'll allow you to be able to kind of really schedule that and track all that.
Yeah, you're right. I should say high frequency data collection. That's what I should say.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about our Sample E&V platform. This is originally built for groundwater sampling, but over the years we've been adding more and more features to the product, and now essentially you can be collecting any kind of data that you'd like, from soil, groundwater, air to soil vapor, and now we're specifically getting into wastewater sampling.
Yeah.
Talk about the growing need for this and how the current industry is going right now, Russell.
Well, obviously every city in the country that of any size has a wastewater treatment plant, and with those becomes you got influent, you got a process going on, you got an effluent, and depending on your permit, you got to test certain parameters. Sometimes just making a visual observation, or documenting a fluid level or flow rates or something. So all that information is constantly being collected. One thing about a wastewater treatment plant is, although a lot of them have a lot of automation in them, they run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, because you can't shut these things off. And if you do, there's problems, right? Things back up and people's basements get flooded, that kind of thing. So they're always running, and so they're always collecting data. That's kind of the part that we're talking about here, is that we're going to help you collect that data in a much more efficient manner. It's going to be legible, right? You don't have to worry about reading people's writings, and you'll be able to take that data then and just kind of push it into the reports that you routinely have to submit to the various regulators, and just tracking performance, that kind of stuff. So it makes it really easy to move that data from the field where they're collecting it right into the, not just data, but samples as well, into your internal laboratory, and also be able to ship to external laboratories. It just really helps streamline the flow of that.
Right. And today we're going to be talking about SampleServe's Sample E&V platform.
You didn't introduce your dog.
Oh my God, he's been quiet for the last 2 hours. As soon as I start something, it's time for him to start getting rowdy.
Right.
It's the one time I trusted him. So Sample E&V has multiple platforms that have different user-defined roles for each person. There's a project management tool for project managers, mobile field app for people that are taking samples, collecting data, lab app for the laboratory, and graphics and reporting functionality. So effortless project setup and creation. This is where a manager at a plant would be setting up and planning data collection and sampling events. So Russell, go over kind of the details of how easy it is, and we'll go over exactly how it's set up in a bit. But go over the project management tool for what project managers are going to see when they log in here.
So let's say you have to go and, the first thing in the morning, your first shift shows up, they've got to go and record fluid levels and pHs and temperatures on things. And maybe they're getting DO. Maybe they got to go out and inspect the outfall, right? And just document that they went, looked at the outfall and, for a sheen or anything like that. That can be scheduled, and you got to do it every day, right? If somebody's working there every morning, they got to collect this data. Maybe it's only 3 times a week, maybe it's once a week, but whatever that frequency is, you're going to set up that scope of work, and then you're gonna be able to schedule that. And you go every Monday, every day, or every shift. It could be however you want to schedule that. We made the scheduling very easy, and then you could set how far out in the future you want it. And if you always want it to be set out at least a month so people can kind of see their calendar, you will set it, you set the month out, and it'll just keep every day, it'll add a day onto the calendar a month out. Or if you want it to be scheduled for the entire year, you can set it out for the entire year. Or just 3 days out. You just want to keep it 3 days. So that's kind of flexible, what you want to do, when you want to do it. If you've got a weekly schedule, you'll set up a separate weekly function where you're going to collect different samples on a weekly basis. If you've got, things you need to do daily, you can set them up so that it just automatically sets up that schedule daily. And everything is going to be able to be very neatly organized, the daily stuff, the weekly stuff. Not that you can't do them both kind of simultaneously. You can, like it's a weekly event and you decide to go out and do both the weekly and the daily, you'll be able to combine those and do those as well. But it just makes it real simple to kind of keep things scheduled and organized.
Right. So yeah, it makes it really easy where you can go in and easily decide, kind of like if you're like planning like a Google Calendar event or something like that, where it gives you the option to say, hey, every Tuesday at 4 p.m. I want this to happen, or know, and then I want this to happen every consecutively for the next 3 months. So you can go in and plan out your events for the next let's say quarter or 2 quarters.
Yep.
And then let me get my PowerPoint slide working again here. Select your required tests from the lab's test library. So you're going to be connected to a library of tests that are in, the connected library of from your laboratory. It's going to essentially have all the tests that you would ever need, and you can connect those to each individual sample location.
And it can be multiple labs too. So let's say you're collecting some samples and you're going to do some of them internally, maybe like the bacteria count, you're going to do it yourself, but then you're going to send some other things out to a second lab. You're able to collect those. We've got the ability to kind of separate chains of custody. Mm-hmm. So you're able to, even though you're collecting them from the same location, different bottles, this bottle goes to that lab, these are going to stay here. You're able to track that and organize it very effectively.
Yeah, so all it can be customizable to exactly what you need for that specific sampling event. And then for data collection, you can customize forms for digital data collection. This is an example of what it would look like when you're customizing a form here. This is called a shift permit checklist here. We have active fields, and Russell, you made this yourself. This isn't something that's built in. You made this from scratch. And
it took me 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, and as you can see here, you can collect various types of data points. You can do numbers, text, multiple choice. You can even have signatures, and you can put a timer in there. Some places like to have a timer. Let's say if you're flushing something for a while, you want to build in that timer so that you can document that you've flushed something for a certain amount of time, or you've waited a certain amount of time. You can also have pictures documented as well.
Yeah.
And then you can connect these forms to individual sample locations. So let's say you have an effluent location, you can collect any kind of data just for that individual sample location, or you can have a form that covers the entire event. And we'll go over that in a bit.
Yeah.
So once this project is set up, you just hit save. Everything's going to go to the field app. Everything's going to be available and listed in the field app, and we'll show that here. So this is a picture right here of the field app, the projects that are listed in the field app, and they're all in chronological order. So as you can see here, we got field data first shift, field data second shift. These are the projects that you've set up, the sampling events that you set up in the project management tool. They get transferred over to the field app. So as you go throughout the day, technicians can just click on the next one that's listed, collect the data, and it'll automatically get uploaded to the cloud.
Yep.
So Russell, talk about the essentially what a field tech is going to be seeing when they log into here, and how they're going to be communicating that data back and forth.
Yeah. So the app automatically sorts by date and time. So you just kind of work towards the top of this thing. You can jump into, if you decide to do the weekly thing a day early, you can do that as well. But it's also going to, when you click on the particular event, it's going to bring up the screenshot. Then you click on the location. It's going to show you what you need to do at that particular location. And when if you say you're sampling, it knows that you need to print, 3 labels, and it'll print out 3 labels, and maybe, there's 3 different analytical parameters. You just make sure you put the right label on the right bottle, and then you're going to be able to keep all that really simple. So it kind of dumbs it down to make it.
Yeah. The picture on the left here is the list of the projects, and the picture on the right here is what it looks like when you click into one. So you can see we have the 3 sample locations here, and this is a checklist that covers the entire event here.
Yeah. So it's just real simple. You just click on them. When you're done with it, it'll put a little green badge on it. This is a screenshot of the actual form that I created that I showed you earlier, where you're going to record the pH, you're going to look at temperature, other types of things. You can actually make visual observations, and you want to take a picture. You'll add that in the form that you want them to take a picture of something.
Did you take this picture? Did you go out in your backyard and take this picture?
Yeah, it's my discharge out of my sewer.
Is that your septic there?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but you'll be able to take a picture, and then just it becomes part of that record, part of that form. So if let's say you do have to do an outfall inspection, you'll be able to document that picture was taken at that time. You're going to sign your name to it, so it's got your signature on there. So there's no question that you did that work at that time. And actually, the picture will have a built-in GPS coordinate on it as well. So
yeah,
so that so there's no question that you were there and took that picture.
One of the things that we've been adding in over time, and this is something that a lot of people like, is we have built-in smart forms with conditional fields. Essentially, you can select a data point to be required, or if it's out of range of something, we can have you can build in stuff that says, hey, this is out of range, explain why, or this is required and out of range, like all these different scenarios that you can set up in a form to make sure that when the people are collecting data, they're collecting the right type of data, and also they're not missing any forms or any kind of data inputs that would otherwise need to be collected.
Yeah, so the term is geofencing. So if you're more than, and this is adjustable by the project manager, if you're more than 5 meters away from a sample location, it's going to ask you why you're so far away. But that's adjustable. So when we do some tests for like sampling in faraway states, and I'll be sitting here, it'll literally pop up and go, you're 1,923 meters away from the sample location. So it just literally measures how far you are away. And if you're within the allowable zone, then you don't see that. If you're within 5 meters, it's not going to pop up, because now it knows, like, yep, you're at the right location.
Right. And another neat feature, and this is very important to a lot of field people that are, anybody that's putting samples in a bottle or anything like that. We do generate sample labels either before you go out and do sampling or at the time of sampling. So, this all includes your date, time, signature. It's going to have all the relevant data on the sample bottle. So you don't need to spend time filling out this information on the label.
If you print in the field. If you're printing ahead of time, it's going to have all the relevant information except for the date and time.
That's all you need to do. Sign and date.
Yep.
And it's very easy. I can go out and buy Avery labels and print out those labels right in your office printer if you'd like right away.
Yeah.
And we also feature our patented digital chain of custody. So this is going to be essentially, you're not going to be filling out any paper custody forms. You can, if you'd like to. There is a paper custody form that you can print out beforehand. It's going to have everything in there. You just need to fill out, what the data that's needed. And then, but if you're transferring the data, the chain of custody digitally, all you do is essentially sign your name, take a selfie, and then this chain of custody can be sent to anybody at that time.
Yep.
It's very easy.
Yep.
And the other nice feature is once all this data, lab data, comes back into the platform, you can easily create graphs, tables. You can even do some mapping, and it's going to be essentially point and click. There's going to be no like specialized software. It's easy to learn. I always say, if I can do it, anybody can do it. And that's one of the best features, is that all it takes is just an easy drag and drop of the lab data back into the platform, and it's there.
Yeah, and we can customize this too for your particular state requirements, your permit requirements, so that we can help you just kind of move that data right where it needs to be with minimal effort, just to make your life a lot easier.
Yeah, and we're working with a lot of clients right now with a lot of states, a lot of different states that are essentially they need customized export formats that fit the state's format. So that way they don't have to transcribe the data that they've been collecting into some other program or into a an Excel file or on a PDF or anything like that. The data is essentially just one click and exports, and then they can send that off to the state, which just saves a lot of time. It makes it really.
So it's actually a little bit of a pain in the butt to be kind of the first people out there doing this type of stuff, because you always end up having to like educate people on digital techniques, and
the state.
You got to fight the regulators and.
We're turning old workflows into new workflows. Is not very. It's sometimes. You realize, why do we do this? Sometimes the question is, and why do you do this? Oftentimes the answer is, well, that's just the way it's been done. You realize, with digital platforms, you don't need to do a lot of redundant work,
Right. It's not always easy being on the cutting edge, because you got to talk to people about change.
Right.
Most people tend to be okay with it, but there's some people just hardliners. They don't like change. Some people are like, yes, it's about time, but those are hard to find.
It's growing though. It's growing.
Yeah, it is growing.
So if you'd like to get a more in-depth view of, the SampleServe platform, Sample ENV, project management tool, mobile field app, the lab app, more about report graphics and how everything works, we do have a virtual demo that's on the website. You can go there right now. It's on the home screen. You can just scroll down a little bit, click watch virtual demo. It takes about 20 minutes to get through. And you can always just watch the ones that are relevant to what you'd like to know about. And I highly suggest anybody that's more interested to go in there and get a little more information. It's media agnostic in the sense that, we're talking about the process, the workflow, but it really, when it goes down to certain media, there's going to be subtle differences in your workflow depending on what you're sampling and what kind of data you're collecting.
But it all boils down to putting something in a container and sending it to a lab. So we don't really care what
exactly
is.
Exactly. And we're going to end it. I think we're going to end it there. We're about to reach our 20-minute mark. Look out for next week's. We got an exciting event coming up. We have Tyler Hintz with In Situ going to be on their show. We're going to be talking about our integration with In Situ water meters. And then after that, we got some more special guests coming on and some exciting features and news coming out as well. So thank you guys for joining us. Russell, say goodbye and look out for next week's. And thanks, guys. We'll have a good one.